Welcome to the Empress Lioness, a sacred space where the spirit roars and the soul remembers everything. In each episode, we sit with visionaries, founders, creators, and healers. I'm your host, Karen Mitchell. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to the Empress Lioness podcast, the sanctuary where women rise into their power, reclaim their truth, and step boldly into the life they were born to lead. I'm Karen Mitchell, the Empress Lioness, and today I want to speak about a woman named Niesha Murphy, a woman I met in Vietnam this year, a woman who did not feel accidental to me at all, a woman whose presence felt like one of those sacred encounters life sends to you when your spirit is standing at the edge of transformation. Because some women do not enter your life just to be known. Enter as a mirror, as a messenger, as a reckoning, and as a reminder. And Niesha felt like all four of those things to me. There are some meetings that look ordinary on the outside, a conversation, a glance, a moment shared in a foreign place. But the soul knows better because sometimes your life shifts not when the crowd applauds, not when the title comes to you, and not when the world finally sees you, but when one woman looks at you in a certain way, whether it be a smile, a glance, and something ancient inside you whisper, pay attention to her. This moment is carrying more than words. Vietnam was not just a destination, it was a threshold. And Niesha was not just a woman I met there. She became part of a spiritual language of that season for me. And that is what I want women to understand. Not every sacred encounter comes to stay, but that does not make it less sacred. Some people arrive to build a home in your life, and some people arrive to light a fire. It is your job to know the difference. See, because an empress knows that mystery is not confusion, it's invitation, it's discernment. Mystery is the soul being asked to listen deeper than language. And some women carry that kind of presence. They do not force it. They do not announce it. Their energy alone begins to uncover what has been buried. That is what makes certain encounters unforgettable. They do not simply introduce you to them, they introduce you to yourself. So today, it is great honor and pleasure to introduce Niesha Murphy, not just the woman I met in Vietnam, but a woman that is a part of my tribe. So, Niesha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. And that was immaculate introduction. I'm sitting on here blessed.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I wanted to introduce you that way because we don't know each other personally. We're getting to know each other. And I think that when women, I think you and I had this discussion too, that for most women, when you see another woman somewhere, especially in a foreign country, we just don't even acknowledge each other, you know? Like males, they do that head thing. Like I've seen it, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
women, we do that look like, you here too? Well, I'm here too. Like it's a competition type of thing. But our connection was so much different. And I
Mhm.
want to give credit to our husbands, but I'm going to say
Oh,
that
yeah. So,
I think
so
it had a lot to do with us too.
it did, I think but it goes to, I think that's why spaces like yours are so super important because if it had not been for our husbands, we probably wouldn't have spoken.
True.
And so I call my husband a golden retriever because he's just like, the most friendly person in the world. I think that early on, as little girls, we were made to be in competition with each other always and forever. You know what I mean? Because there is a limited number of men, or so we're always competing. And what I think it created was this guard. So when we're out, we don't, approach each other. I had this thing in my head. I was at a Subway one day, and I don't know, when I'm in good energy, I just wanna, like, just shower other people, like, with it. And so I'm at Subway, and I see this girl, and she has, like, a beautiful tattoo on her arm. And I was like, "I like her tattoo. Imma tell her, Imma tell her." And so I get up there, and I compliment her, and she just lit up almost like a candle was inside of her head, you could see. And I was just like, and so from then on, I said, if I see something on a woman that I like, and I think that she's pretty, or I like her hair, I'm gonna make sure to tell her. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Because number one, it's a nice feeling, having somebody compliment, especially because I know how hard we work on, our hair and all these things.
Ourselves, right.
Yeah, right. And so it's like to know. And I think a lot of times it's like, oh, she knows. I'm not gonna tell her. No, she might not. So, I think that it's important to really just be kind. I think it seems like a lost art these days to just be kind without any pretense or anything. Hey,
Agenda, just yeah.
right. Hey, I think you're absolutely gorgeous. And that's it. Have a good rest of your day. Like, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
and I totally agree with that because I grew up in a house with mostly all women. I have 3 sisters and my mom, but for us, it was more like and I think for a lot of brown-skinned women, I think in our
Mhm.
culture, most of us are raised to compete with each other in the home. You're
Right.
told that one sister looks different and better than
Mhm.
you, or one is smarter than you. This one can do something better. I think it happens in men too, because I've heard my husband say that. But in the brown home culture, we learn to compete with each other. And so as I
Mhm.
got out of that system, I started to be very intentional about
Mhm.
complimenting women,
Yeah.
especially women that you can tell they have a low self-esteem for whatever the reason, or they need someone to say something to them. You never know where that person is in their life. And so I
Yeah.
always compliment, I love your smile. I love your skin
Yes.
tone. I love I love this outfit you're wearing. And I'm very sincere about it because
Yeah.
I can find one thing on that woman that I absolutely love. I'm going to
Yeah.
tell her because it does
Yeah.
make her day. It does
It
make her feel
does. It
good.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess the deeper question is,
Mm.
was who were you becoming in the
Mm.
presence of our encounter? When we met?
Ooh. Um, when we met, we had just really gotten to Vietnam. So I want to say we had been in Vietnam maybe like a month and a half. And on before we left, it was so emotionally heavy because our families were not happy about us leaving.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily understand it. We stayed with my grandma for a little bit before we left. She's very, what's the word? Look, she's very needy in terms of like needing to feel joy from other people so that she can be okay. And
Kind of like
so we
feeding off your energy.
definitely, definitely feeding off my energy. So we left and I was drained. My family, to give a little backstory, when I was 14, I was enlisted by my mom's husband. And no, yeah, that lasted for maybe like, I want to say maybe like 4 years
Oh,
on and
wow.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the most jarring experience because it felt like being a gazelle and having a lion in my house. And After it happened, a few years after it happened, I told my mother, and she was just like, "I want my peace," and just like completely just wrote it off and pretended like it never happened. And so our relationship ended more or less. Especially when, me and my husband got together. So when me and my husband got together, he talked to her or whatever, and she did not like that at all. Oh, she thought it was so disrespectful. And I spoke with her, and she just was like, "Oh, God told me I did everything I could do." So upon leaving, her and my grandmother were on bad terms. And so I talked to her one last time when we got to Vietnam. So it was just the whole thing. In that one conversation, this is before we met. On that one conversation, I learned that my uncle was dying.
Wow. Yeah.
And he was on life support. My father, who I hadn't talked to in ever, he had sent my mother like some child support money. And then I talked to my mother, and she was just like, "I don't know why you're calling me. I don't know why you're calling me. I don't know why you're calling me." And I realized, I don't know why I'm calling you either. Like, so I called her on behalf of my grandmother, because my grandma was grieving and going through all types of stuff because it was her brother. And I was on the phone, and I am usually I'm my mother's mother.
Sounds
Right?
about right.
So, yeah, so I'm usually the one to help calm her down, and I was gonna do it, and then I was sitting, and I was like, because she said it. She was like, "Why are you calling me?" And I was like, why am I here? Why did I call her?" And so I said at the end of it, because she laid all of her problems so that I could come in and fix it. And at the end of it, I was just kind of like, "Well, good luck to you." And then I hung up. Because so it was just kinda like, and she sat there in silence, like complete silence, like waiting for me to do the thing to parent her, to
Yeah.
help regulate her, and I didn't do it. And it felt so powerful. But what it left was this identity crisis. And so it's like, if I'm not fixing things for my family like I always have had to do, who am I? Who am I when I get to fix my life just without all of that? So when I met you, all of those realizations were hitting me. And I was literally just in the depths of it, of feeling the pain, as well as grieving my uncle who had passed away, but also grieving those familial relationships that are now, I say gone, but I'm gonna say just in the abyss, maybe in purgatory, whatever the case may be. But I think because I'm the eldest daughter, when you have taken care of your family for your whole life, and then it's over, it's like it's a freedom, but then it's a freedom followed by a little bit of sadness, because it's like, okay, I was never really able to create an identity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even now, like, I find myself buying little things to make my wardrobe like match my personality, right? So I'm still working on getting like my wardrobe, and so that I can, build, because I was never really a color person, but I'm finding that I like color. And so I'm getting
Mhm.
little tiny things here and there. And just, I'm not a makeup person. I can't. I'm completely remedial on makeup. But just like, I find that I like the little like lip liner. So I'm trying to like accumulate that stuff. But right now, I'm sorry. When we met though, I was in that transitional space of like, it was the universe opened this space, and it was like, you get to just be you now. And but there was a mental blockage that needed to be cleared for that to really, for me to accept that that was my reality now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like you had carried that negative energy from the States to Vietnam. You had lost who you were, your identity along that life journey by being, when you said it, I thought about moms that, including me, that raise your kids and you're everything to them. You wear all the hats, you nurture them, you feed them, you do everything.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then they go off to college.
Yeah.
And you're left here thinking, Okay.
Yeah.
So what am I gonna do now with me?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're caught up in the middle of, I think I miss it, but I really don't because there's a part of me that wish my kid didn't have to leave, but there's a part of me that's having a party that they now left because I'm no longer responsible for anyone anymore.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Karen Mitchell.